Good morning. My name is John Martin and I'm from Dialog Insight, and I'm here with one of our relational marketing experts, Allison Flero, and we're going to be talking a little bit about marketing automation today. We can see that there's still a few stragglers signing in, so we're going to give this a moment or two. So if you could just be patient with us, we'll be started in a minute. Thank you. Okay, we seem to have plateaued, so anybody joining us, they can get a full recording, that will be emailed out after the presentation today. So that's another way of saying that, we are recording, so you will be able to get a copy. You don't have to necessarily take notes as we go through this, but we're pleased to be talking to you today. Again, my name is John Martin, and Allison Flero is on the line as well. And let's get started and talk a little bit about marketing automation. So the first thing we want to mention is what is marketing automation, because it's one of those things that tends to mean a little bit different, something a little bit different to everybody you talk to. So when you think of your email campaigns and sending off a message, it's a very manual process to create a message, strategize about what you're going to do, set goals, segment your group, send your message, take a look at the results, and go on. And it's a very manual process to do that from scratch every time you want to set a message out or send an email campaign. Marketing automation is a very different animal. Marketing automation allows you to strategize on a process and basically do some of the similar things in terms of deciding things like goals and who you want to send a message to, but the actual triggers for it and sequence of messages can all be set up in advance, and that means that on a day-to-day basis you don't have any work to do. Marketing automation will continue to run without draining your resources, and in this way you have much more time in your marketing department to strategize and to decide how to run your campaigns. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at that from a marketing perspective and see how we can help you with it.
That's right, John. Just wanted to add one more thing. The performance on marketing automation campaigns is actually better than just a regular campaign as well.
Okay, so if we can go forward, let's take a look at just what exactly is marketing automation. The simple example, or one simple example, is a welcome campaign. When somebody initiates contact with you, they sign up, for your emails through a form, then it's nice to be able to send them a series of emails welcoming them, to welcoming them to the relationship with you. If they fill out the form today, then you really want to send them a welcome message as fast as you can. So the initial message tends to go out right away. And here we have a couple examples over, how you might welcome people into an electronic relationship with you on that. Similar, people who sign up for a campaign, they will perhaps forget about it after the welcome message. So you want to be sure to add a second or a third message in your welcome campaign so that you can continue to keep that mind share that brought the client to you in the first place.
That's right, and you can use these welcome campaigns and sequence of welcome campaigns to gather more information about your contact's profile.
So when you start thinking about your marketing automation ideas, it's a good idea to try and flow chart them and put them down on paper. And don't be afraid to be a little bit creative. I mean, there's two sides to this coin. One is you want to keep the process simple so that you can, see what can be done. But don't be afraid to stray a little bit into your wish list and say, if only we knew this about a company, or if only we knew this about a contact, we could send them a better message. So be a little bit creative, but flow chart out, the sequence of messages you have in mind. So in this case, it's a fairly simple Q&A type process with, you know, a new contact, a question, what is your favorite style? In this case, it looks like it's talking more about music, so we have pop music versus rock music, and then you have some information that can be sent based on their preferences, and you can start to gather groups or descriptions of your contacts into these segments. So a very simple question can lead to, you know, as many as 4 profile groups, you know, for your contacts that you can, you know, target messages to. Of course, the better job you do targeting or personalizing your messages, the better they're going to be received from your contacts and prospects. So a couple other ideas. We've run a few campaigns on loyalty, contact loyalty, customer loyalty, and in this case, one of our clients, you know, set up a loyalty rewards program to take their e-commerce data and set thresholds within that to send off a sequence of coupons. So they were able to reward their loyal customers with ever increasing coupon messages to the point where, you know, the most loyal customers received a 50% you know, discount. And this was a very, very exciting campaign. There was over a 50% conversion rate on this, and it was very successful for the client.
That's right, and the title of the slide is We Care About Our VIPs, and everybody has VIPs. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have a program in place to honor your VIPs or allow them to collect points or something like that. Your VIPs are the contacts that are opening and clicking your emails the most. So you want to be able to treat them differently with that information, talk to them differently, just like Mia did by offering more discount to the contacts that were more engaged. Re-engagement.
This is, I suppose, the polar opposite of a VIP or a loyalty campaign. There's lots of contacts in everybody's database that don't appear to be engaged. So in this way, you can identify those less than active customers or clients, prospects, and you can set out campaigns to target them specifically. So the loyal contacts that you have, you may consider that they're going to, you know, purchase from you, you know, at some point all along the way. Maybe the strategy there is to, you know, keep them coming in without offering them any additional incentives, where the inactive clients, you know, might benefit more from a coupon or an event or something you can send off via marketing automation that will entice them to go back into your place of business or re-engage with you, you know, at some level. So remarketing, re-engagement, retargeting. If somebody did business with you before but has been inactive for a long time, you might want to recognize that last purchase. There's lots of tools that we can bring to bear to help you re-engage with your contacts.
That's right, and all of that automatically through the marketing automation. And if you notice the example from Office, they're asking a question. They're saying, do we have it right? Are you interested in male content or female content? So don't be afraid to ask them so that you can update their profile and make sure you're sending them the most targeted information. The other thing to remember is you could also use humor to re-engage a contact and catch their attention. And last point for this slide, sorry, is your sender reputation and delivery into the inbox has a lot to do with the contact engagement as well. So if people aren't opening or clicking on your messages, then the delivery rate slows down and there's a chance that you're going to land in the junk mail folder. So you want to make sure that you don't have a lot of inactive contacts on your list.
Okay. Now, renewals, it's listed as membership renewal, but could also be contract renewal. If you're doing business in a way that people sign up for something on an annual basis, perhaps software is a service or perhaps an insurance model, then we're able to help you track that information on when somebody's policy or contract is about to expire, and you can automatically start sending messages perhaps a week or I should say a month or 6 weeks in front of the contract renewal date. Then in a multi-stage campaign, you could actually do 2 or 3 of those reminder emails and start collecting some renewals automatically through the forms on the website. Now, if you get a number of clients that have not renewed by, say, a week or 2 in front of their deadline, then you can export that list to your call center and start making phone calls to track those renewals manually, or to complete those renewals manually. This can ease the burden not only on your marketing staff but on your sales staff. If we can reduce by any percentage at all, but let's say 50%, then your call centers will have less manual work to do to get those very important renewals. Similar, you can send off rewards to those that do renew. So including the idea that their sales rep or contact could perhaps give them a personal message. So lots of personalizations are available for this, and we'd be happy to help you with the strategies.
That's right. And one more strategy that this could be used for is if you have both implied and explicit consent contacts. So if you know that your implied consent is running out shortly, you can start engaging your contacts and asking them to convert over to explicit consent before that implied consent does run out.
That's a great point. So conversions. The other thing you can do with marketing automations, if you're selling, anything that is, consumable in nature, and I like to default to the example of printer ink, one of the most expensive fluids on the planet. But if you have a contract with a business or an individual, and you know the frequency under which they purchase their printer ink or any other consumable item, then you can send the reminders out to make sure that the replacement order for what's usually seen as a commodity, comes into your business as opposed to going to someone else's. So if printer ink lasts a month or 3 months, then you can send the reminder off to make sure that you have a better chance on getting that repeat order than perhaps your competitors would. So don't be afraid to ask us for a bit of an analysis, or use the data that you have in your purchasing database to help trigger the sequences to send off these reminder emails to complete that kind of a purchase. So I just wanted to review a little bit about traditional thought and how that's going to change a little bit with marketing automation. So in a more traditional email consideration, you start thinking about a new email and strategizing on what you're going to send out. So you brainstorm with your group, you decide how to do it, you basically start writing, designing, and creating the email. In there's a segmentation step that can be simple or complex depending on your goals. And then you would go ahead and deploy or send that email to the group. You might take a look at the results, but basically you stop at that point and you tend to put that email into the past, and then you leave it alone until it's time to start thinking of the next sequence. In the marketing automation world, there's a little bit more, flexibility to that. So you still have to think about what you're going to do. You think and you plan, you brainstorm with the group, you write and design, not only the email, but the process of emails. And then you test with a certain number of groups. You test and you deploy. You evaluate and optimize what you're doing. And then it becomes a circular step, because that process, of course, is going to keep on running. And you can then, take what works and continue to run those processes, and you can then expand that and build out new sequences, for new sequences for new automations, for new marketing steps that can help you grow your business. So it's just a little bit of a different thought process when you start looking at using marketing automation instead of a traditional send to a list model of email marketing. So we promised you 6 steps for creating an efficient, automated campaign. So these steps can vary a little bit from business to business, but they all involve planning. So write your flow charts, create your steps, think about what you want to accomplish, and talk to us. I mean, we've done this for a lot of years. We'd be happy to take a look at your goals and see what you need and see if we can help you, work through the next one.
That's right, and you want to make sure that your goals are measurable. So if you set an objective, we can see at the end if it's increased clicks and opens, and measure it, and then refine and test again.
And understanding. So you have to understand the different steps and see where you're going with this, understand what the results mean. You have to realize a little bit that your view of the world may be very different from your customer's view of the world. So you can create all the flow charts you want, but if your customer is looking for something simple, they'll let you know that. So keep looking at the results with that in mind to see, what it really looks like from your customer's perspective.
That's right, and of course your list is going to have a whole bunch of different profiles in it. So start slow, take one profile, and then the next month separate it into 2 more segments and slowly work your way up the path that way. You don't have to design your chart or your flow for everybody at once. You're learning, it's a process. You take things and then change them as you go along.
Over time, you'll be able to use marketing automation to identify the best sequences, the best paths, not only on your website from page to page, but in emails and links, and the best questions to ask, and what to do with the results in terms of retargeting or personalizing, future messages. So you can help move from a welcome campaign to learn more about the clients, learn more about your prospects, those that are interested in different things, a wide variety of recipes versus more specific interest in healthy, food choices. And then you can, refine, within those buckets as well and start sending personalized messages to what your clients want to be able to see. And at the end of the day, if it all leads into, a similar bucket where they're looking for local, food campaigns, then you can consolidate and send messages according to that as well. So the paths they don't have to be, yes or no questions. They can be a little bit more subjective than that and help bucket or define, contacts that are unique to your business or that reflect the goals of your business.
That's right, and my suggestion from the last slide pertains to this one as well. You don't want to complicate the design too much and make too many branches out. So keep it simple to start with and go from there.
So message creation. The steps in message creation, you obviously have to create the messages in marketing automation in advance. So keep in mind that you're designing messages for every step along the way, and then keep refining those to the point where where they're accurately reflecting what people want to be able to see at those different steps. So in this case, there's you can look at the visibility from your customers. So this is just a simple example. You know, may or may not be the best one we could think of, but in this case, they're a hospitality venue is looking for customer feedback, and they're trying to, you know, give the message that it's important to them what the customer thinks. But they have a great big do not reply, you know, in their sender email. So that doesn't really encourage people to think they're being treated individually. So be aware of the optics of your messages, and, you know, help create the right message for your brand to stay in touch with your clients, or to move to that one-to-one, you know, relationship with your messaging to your clients. Similar for landing pages. You know, be aware of where you're going to, you know, what the links are in your messages that you're going to, you know, deliver a message behind that. So if you have a welcome campaign, it's also nice to be able to add a little humor and send people, you know, back to a welcome page that gives them a congratulatory notice. So in this case, we have somebody blowing a whistle. I've been assured that that's a whistle and not something else that comes to mind. But, you know, let's celebrate. Let's give them a little bit of humor to welcome them to doing business with you.
That's right. This is a good example of something with humor, but it also at the bottom explains what the contact is going to receive. So it pertains to the welcome message. It's really the next step.
And don't forget to test and measure. Every step along the way, every so often, go back in and look at your campaigns and find out how they're running, see where you are, you know, on your flow chart, see how many people made it to each given step, find out what they did, what links did they click to advance to the next step, did you get the expected behavior that you wanted to encourage, build out a calendar so that you can see if there's any seasonal aspects to what you're doing. Remember, these campaigns run all the time. You know, another simple campaign is a birthday message. If you set a birthday sequence to run every day at 9 o'clock and send a happy birthday message to everybody who has a birthday that day, that's going to continue to run. So be aware of that, and, you know, see how those kind of things are going to impact what you do. A welcome campaign may run over a 2 or a 3 month, you know, process. More complex product reminders may run over a 6 month process. So design your calendars, design your campaigns, and we'll work with you to help get that optimized so that, you know, your business grows and you get the results that you're looking for.
Right, and talking about your birthday campaign, that it's true, it runs every day all year. Well, take a look at it at the end of the year and make sure, maybe change the design around so when the customer gets it again the following year on their birthday, the design is different and they don't just think you've set up an automated campaign. Maybe they think you've really taken the time to personalize a message for them. This calendar is also good to set up for your A/B tests, because as you know, doing A/B tests gives you great results. So you could set up and say, okay, well, in April I'm going to test my subject line. In September I'm going to test the timing, what time of day to send. So having it all written out and laid out for you helps you remember to do those tests and check the results and do them and redo the tests again.
Actually, that as soon as I said that birthday messages will run every day, that's of course is true. But the marketing automation tools also allow for blackout dates. So if your business is basically a business day, you know, Monday to Friday, not counting statutory holidays, you do have the ability to enter blackout dates in your marketing automations as well, so that messages are received at the right time for your clients. Testing is also another good idea to do with your messages. So in this case, there's a graphic that perhaps is not displaying, you know, quite the way that the designer wanted it to display. So don't be afraid to send your test messages to, review what you do and make sure that you're presenting your brand, the right way, for what you want to be able to accomplish.
Right, and down at the bottom you can see it says copyright 2012. So this email was probably set up in 2012 and they forgot all about it. So they should have come back maybe once a year, once a quarter to check their campaigns, make sure things are going well, make sure they update the copyright message. Excuse me, sorry. I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, just make sure you test. So it's a good example of making sure that things are working correctly.
If you put that kind of thing down on a calendar, it will be easier for you to remember because, of course, we're all going to get busy and you're not going to necessarily think of each individual email. So if you set off your reminders, you can be better assured that you're going to review these things, as they need to be reviewed going forward.
Right, and coming to the next slide, optimize and repeat, it pertains to that testing as well. You want to make sure you keep a trace of your campaigns and how they're set up, which will help you be able to test in the end.
So we've covered an awful lot today in the way of ideas, and we covered it, all on PowerPoint at a very sort of high level that pertains to all businesses, or at least we tried to make it pertain to all businesses. We would be happy to show you a more detailed marketing automation demo in the platform if you want to reach out to your Dialog Insight account manager or reach out to Allison or I independent of this. My email is jmartin@dialoginsight.com and Allison is aflero@dialoginsight.com, and of course your account managers. So we would be very happy to hear from you afterwards. Take a look at the flowchart ideas that you have for marketing automation. Perhaps we can even help you build that flowchart and take a look at the specifics in the platform that can help you get the job done. So we'd very much like to hear from everyone. So reach out afterwards. This is the beginning. It's a process and it's going to run for a long time.
I'm not seeing any questions in the questions panel, so.
Okay, well, thank everybody for their time today. There will be a recording sent out of this, so look for that in your emails. Please feel free to share it with others who might be interested. And as I said before, we'd be happy to hear from you afterwards. Thank you very much, and have a Merry Christmas.